to the Bessemer City Council meeting here at 1700 3rd Avenue North in the great city of Bessemer. Today is Tuesday, August the 17th, 2021. The meeting has been called to order. We'll ask for a silent word of prayer as we pray again for this nation and what is going on in the city, the county, the state, as well as the nation. We're back again with Zoom because of the emergency stay that was called by the governor. We looked at the numbers this morning here in Jefferson County, and we're rapidly moving up, children included. So as we say a silent word of prayer, let us include all in our prayer. We have the ministers across the street in the DeBarton-Laban Park praying for this city, this council, and this mayor. We will also include them in our prayer as well. A word of silent prayer, please. Amen. Roll call, Ms. Taylor.
Alexander. Councilor Alexander.
She's here, but she's having some difficulty.
Present.
Councilor Collier.
Present.
Councilor Crusoe.
Present.
Councilor Marshall.
Present.
Councilor Thickpan.
Present.
Councilor Matthews.
Present.
Councilor Donald.
Present.
7 present, no absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Item number 4, please.
Status on Facebook Live.
Is that the planning agenda? Ms. Taylor, can you hear me?
No, ma'am, I didn't hear you.
Okay. Item number 4 on the agenda should be the Bessemer Chamber of Commerce, first annual Bessemer Marvel City Family Fun Fest, the proposal.
Oh, no, ma'am, I don't. I have Facebook Live for number 4.
Okay. Ms. Taylor,
Yeah,
Ms.
I do too.
Coleman. Ms.
So do
Coleman
So do I.
Everyone has it. Okay. Let us get Ms. Williams set up to do her proposal.
Madam President, I think that was last week's agenda.
Yeah, this week is status on Facebook Live. Do you want us to delete that one, Madam Chair?
No, sir. This week is actually number 4, the chambers, and Ms. Coleman stated that she placed it in each packet.
Well, I guess, no, my question
Yes,
is, what are we gonna do for item 4? I guess I'll ask that.
Item 4, we can move it On this agenda, it's item number 8.
No,
On
number
the-
8. On number 8, we have the Coins Club of Bessemer.
That is the last week.
No, this is Tuesday, August the 17th. I'm looking at.
Counselor Matthews,
Yeah.
the date was changed because we didn't have a quorum on the 10th. So the date was changed and some of the numbers were changed. I do have the last week, July the 10th, right here in front of me.
Counselor
Yeah.
Dawn, I have the correct
Madam
agenda.
Chair,
I have the
Madam
10th
Chair.
and the 7th.
one moment. One moment. Ms. Taylor.
Yes, ma'am. I have the corrected agenda now.
Okay. If it's okay with this body, let us just, since Ms. Williams is already here and prepared to do her presentation, I'll take an executive privilege and place Ms. Williams from the Bessemer Chamber of Commerce in number 4, please. Ms. Williams, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning to all of our great leaders in the marvelous city of Bessemer. I'm Latasha Williams, president of the Bessemer Area Chamber of Commerce, and I am here to present to you a proposal on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, Marvelous City Family Fun Fest. We presented this package to the leaders of this city about 2 weeks ago for you to take a look at it. And our hopes is that we'll be able to have this annual event that will bring out families to a fun event that is hosted in the city of Bessemer. But the long-term goal is hoping that this will one day become a tourist event right here in the city of Bessemer, that it will grow into that type of event. So the proposal that was presented to you is that we would have it. We've designed a logo. Most of you all have seen that logo that we would like to put on the cover of the festival, and it would be Marvel City Family Fun Fest. We like the ideal to have something that's family oriented, to get people the ideal of bringing the family out so that they can come together as a unity to have a fun day, to meet our elected officials, to network with business and other community leaders, but something that we can be proud of right here in the city of Bessemer. So before, this is just a proposal. As you notice, this presentation has only been presented to the board of directors and the leaders of the city of Bessemer until the proposal is approved, simply because we do have the city logos listed on this proposal. It does give a little bit of the detail. So I'm basically giving you the purpose of what we're trying to do with this event. Now, the benefit of us having this event, we looked at 2 folds. It would be held over there in the empty lot over there by the Hall of History and the DHR building, expanding that way because there's an open field. That location, because would be a lot less traffic on a weekend day. The second benefit would be is, if you'll notice, we talk about food trucks and restaurants and vendors coming up, setting up booths, and that would give them an opportunity to market their products and services that they have available. But not only that, it would give some of our downtown business an opportunity to have sidewalk sales. So that's why another reason that that location was presented was so that, if some of our local downtown business wanted to open, if they're not open on Sundays, that they could do that. And one more benefit that we would have, a part of our vendors, we talked about uprising entrepreneurs. Those would be our young adults under the age age of 25 years old that would be able to come out and hopefully market their product. And then just seeing that, hey, look, this may be an avenue that I would like to go into for this to be my profession and my career. The event will be set up in zones and sections. If you saw in the proposal, we'll have about 11 zones that will be presented that people can have. Our first zone would be entertainment. We look at having an entertainment stage. And I run through these real quickly because you do have them presented in your package. Marva City Marketplace, that's where all of our vendors will be, our uprising entrepreneurs and vendors. We'll have kids zone, wellness zone. We'll have a car show, antique car show and others, food trucks, restaurant avenue, safety zone, information zone, and then personality zone. So each one of those zones are detailed in your package. So after you've carefully reviewed, it shows how we would put this event on. So we come before you today is for the partnership with the city of Bessemer to have this event, but also for you to look at a couple of things for us. Number one, we would like for you to look at the partnering with the chamber to host this event. The second, that the city would be able to secure us with security and also someone to clean up after the event, even though we'll have some instructions for them about cleanup. And third is to look at that licensing fee. I do know that the city of Bessemer do have a license fee in place right now. I think that it's possibly maybe $80. I'm not sure on that, but I wanted us to look at that licensing fee simply because we'll have some nonprofit, and also we would have the uprising entrepreneurs. Okay, I do look and see that your licensing fee is $62 a day. So we did research. We want to start out with this being the first event. We just don't know what it'll bring, but we're hoping that it'll bring a lot of vendors and families out to the event. So we did some research by calling some of our brother and sisters cities, places like Hoover and Trussville, Homewood, Hurrytown, and talk to them about how do they handle it. And several of them had different recommendations and what they would do for theirs. Hoover, basically, when they have festivals and things like that, whoever the sponsor of the event would pay one cover-all fee for all of the vendors. Trussville kind of do something a little bit different. They do $50 on licensing fee. So we have a copy of that. I'm not going to go into what each one do, but we wanted you to take into consideration and looking at your one-day license fee, because if we do charge the vendors, we also want to look at maybe if we could discount it, maybe, you know, $40, $50 or whatever you all see that would be fit. But whenever we do hold festivals in the city of Bessemer, until we get it off the ground and get it running, some of these, you know, I know we look at food trucks and some of them say they'll do well, but, you know, starting out, you just don't know what you might get with an event. And we do want them to come back and as it grows. So we ask you to take that into consideration. And I know the next thing will be on the agenda. We did discuss that in our executive committee. We do realize that the COVID numbers are rising. And so that we do have an alternate date for this event. Should things get worse, we'll be in board of directors meeting today to vote on that. But we will be looking at if we see that the numbers continue to rise, we want to push this event to the second Saturday in March of 2022. But right now it's still on the agenda for October the 3rd of 2021. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you all. Ms. Williams, this event is not taking the place of Taste of Bessemer. Is that correct?
Absolutely not. So this would be two different types of event. You know, we had that with our board. Marva City Family Fun Fest would be something that the family come out to on the weekends. The Taste of Bessemer and Business Expo is more or less where business people will come and they're soliciting business from events. I'll use for an example, like Dex Imaging probably wouldn't set up at Family Fun Fest because probably no one's going to be out there with the family. You know, when it's on the weekend, you want to have something that you enjoy. Correct. So it wouldn't be with more or less companies soliciting business. The Taste of Bessemer does exactly that. So if we push this in the spring, in the fall, we're talking about doing the Taste of Bessemer and Business Expo. Because at that time, that's when people are getting ready to start their budget planning. They're looking for caterers for the holidays. And the Taste of Bessemer is typically on a weekday. And it allows people to come out and looking at, obtaining business.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir, Councilor Marshall.
Ms. Williams, I'd like to commend you on a very good presentation, an excellent idea for the marvelous city. Let's talk about what are you looking for in terms of dollars, in terms of partnership?
Basically, we have a title fee. We want to just kind of limit it. I do know the Sheriff's Department talking about doing a title sponsorship. The title sponsorship would be like $2,500.
Okay, 2,500.
Yes.
Okay. I think it's a wonderful idea.
Yes. But let me say this, even though the Chamber of Commerce is presenting this, we want this to become a tourism event for the city of Bessemer. Now, I do know like on the weekends, everybody's doing these little pop-up shops, but I want this to maybe give us a label, something that would give us a brand for all festival. This would be, ownership of, this is the city of Bessemer Family Fun Fest that, entities can look forward to participating. And then not only that, families will start to the point where I'm hoping that even like Tuscaloosa, people will be saying, hey, let's get the family together and we're going to Marvel City Family Fun Fest. And I really like the personality zone. Maybe you all have had time to look at your package and look at what personality zone would be for. I think that's a great opportunity. We've got some great ideas for these zones. Each one will be set up in different sections with banners out there and fun things. So we're excited about it.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir, Councilor Collier.
Ms. Williams, just want to say thank you. I love the idea. I'm definitely excited about what you're bringing towards downtown, and keep the great work up, you and the rest of the chambers.
We're here to promote business.
Thank you so much, Mr. Williams. Councilors.
Madam Chair.
Councilor Matthews.
Good presentation, Ms. Williams. I like the idea and location. That's an ideal location for it. And I guess I was thinking about it, I guess about a year ago when Hewitttown was having one, Hoover was having one, and here we're sitting in the middle. And that gives us that completes that corridor, and us being in the middle and having something. And I think you will draw, well, matter of fact, I know you will draw other cities to the area when that becomes to fruition, because and back to what you said about the COVID-19 and its variants, we must take that under consideration, because at this particular time, in October is right around the corner, so yes, we will have to take that into consideration. Thank you for a job well done. Okay.
Now we would like, if they.
Mr. Williams, I was excited when I first heard it. I am excited for anything that will promote the city of Bessemer. And you are in a great location, even if we have to use that corner right there where the old Botains building is. Mm-hmm. Remember that land that sits behind that Botains building and there on the side. I'm sorry. Remember that that is city-owned property. And I want to see it all downtown. I just want to see tents and trucks and everything everywhere. Mayor Gully.
Madam President, good morning. It's up to you, the entire council and all who are present. Ms. Williams, I too would like to commend you for this idea. You and I have talked about it in about a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, I love the idea. Anytime we are promoting the city of Bessemer as the chamber is doing and has continuously done over the years and throughout my times associated with the city of Bessemer, you have done an awesome job in we just want to thank you, and we appreciate the chamber for not only and so this this proposal that you're doing now, but for all that you do to help promote and serve the city of Bessemer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams. Councilors, are there any more questions and or concerns for Mrs. Williams?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
only to say, it appears that we're all in agreement that this is a wonderful idea, and it is.
Councilor Marshall.
Councilor Marshall, you got a lot of feedback. Ooh.
No,
Please
it's
turn,
not me.
okay, turn that mic off right there where Ms. Williams is.
Yeah, it's not me.
Okay.
One wonderful idea, and it appears that the mayor and the council, that we're pretty much in agreement that this is something that's worthwhile and beneficial for the city. So I'd like to see us just get prepared to, if we're at a point now, to go on and get a resolution of support for this in one of our upcoming meetings, so that Ms. Williams can actually get down and start, getting the promotional plan put together and so forth, so we can be rolling out and be ready to go with this festival, in the fall. Thank you.
Attorney Payton, are you on the line? Attorney Payton,
Yes, ma'am.
good morning. How are you?
Good.
Seeing that we have a meeting at 10 o'clock, is it possible that we have a resolution of support for the Chamber of Commerce?
Yes, ma'am. For October the 2nd?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilors? We'll look to add it on the meeting at 10 o'clock. Thank you for an awesome job, Ms. Williams. Item number 5, please, Ms. Taylor.
Discussion on NRSA, Juanita Hill.
Ms. Hill, are you on the line or terrain?
Madam President, I'm going to step aside and let Mr. Norris talk to you about this.
Okay.
Good morning, councilors.
Good morning.
I won't be before you long, Madam President. I know you're aware of this project, and we mentioned it briefly in some of our discussions with the other council members. I asked Mr. Courtney Coleman with the Bessemer Housing Authority to join us. He was able to join us last week, but wasn't able to do so today. He's currently out of town. This item is related to another item that's on the city council agenda for today. What we're doing is the housing authority, and the president is aware of this. And so, again, I think we mentioned this to some of the other councilors. They had pursued a project to build a new development over off of Dartmouth Avenue called Juanita Hill Place. And unfortunately, they did not get approval from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and the Office of Fair Housing for the project on their initial submission. And the reason for that was because we did not have a neighborhood plan, so to speak, for that particular area. And so in talking with HUD representatives, HUD made us aware of a program up under the Community Development Block Grant Program called the Neighborhood Revitalization Strategy Area, or NRSA. And what we're doing is we are preparing, we would like to apply for an NRSA designation for the city of Bessemer for that particular neighborhood. And the reason, and that NRSA designation would allow us to possibly help the housing authority get that particular project off the ground. We have gone out with a request for proposal to some various consultants to help us with this project. And we have identified a company known as Ask Development Solutions, which is based out of Florida. They have done some work with some NRSAs around the country let me go back because I don't want to confuse anyone. And NRSA is basically and Mr. Plummer, I think I have him on the phone with Ask Development. I asked him to chime in and tell you a little bit more about it. But an NRSA is generally designed, again, to help revitalize an area or target community development funds to a particular area to help with revitalization in that area. Generally, from what I understand, those are done in coordination with a developed neighborhood plan. But since we do not have a developed neighborhood plan for that particular area, what we hope to do is present an NRSA application to HUD that would, again, help get the Housing Authority approval for that particular project, which is known as Juanita Hill Place. So we have an agreement with Ask Development Solutions on this morning City Council business agenda. And we're just opening the floor up now to any particular questions that the council may have.
I have one, Mr. Norris. Now, this project that we're speaking of, will it be eligible for the funding, the refund of the funding that we're paying back now?
Any CDBG funding that the city receives, so that would include that, could be used. Some of it could be set aside to be used in that particular area.
Madam Chair. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Norris, what other areas are we looking at to use this funding in?
Well, we use CDBG funding primarily all over the city, but with the NRSA, it'll be a targeted area. We have not defined its actual boundaries yet. We do know that the boundary area will include the area that would include the development. We're going to be working with the consultant to find out what's the best areas, what the boundaries would be per se for the NRSA, and then look to target some of those funds in that area as part of revitalization. I will say this about an NRSA, it's not designed to be primarily CDBG funded. It is designed to bring in private investment as well. And while I have him on the phone, I'm going to ask Mr. Plummer, because he's worked in the past and he's with Ask Development Solutions, to talk a little bit more about the NRSA program. They have done again, they were the consulting firm that we've identified to potentially work with through an RFP process, but Ask Development Solutions has also done NRSAs for the city of Detroit and the city of Toledo. And in fact, they got a best of practices nod from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for their work. So Mr. Plummer, are you on the line?
Yes,
Excuse me, Mr. Norris, excuse me. I wasn't through with my question.
Okay, go ahead, Counselor.
So as I understand is reading this will include more than likely low income areas of our city, right? That will be targeted.
Yeah, Counselor, quite a bit of our city is actually low income when you look at it. In fact, I think most of our city core is low income. Now, again, with an NRSA, you want to make sure that what you're doing is having an impact. So we are going to sit down with the consultant. And I do think we've got some public meetings that are included in the agreement. And so we're going to look at what that boundary area will be. We don't want to make it so big that we wind up having no impact, but we don't want to make it so small that we're not at least touching some other potential neighborhoods.
Okay, thank you.
If I may interject here, Mayor Gully, City Council, Madam President, our firm welcomes this opportunity to work with you. Just to give you a little context to the NRSA, you receive CDBG and home dollars in order to target citywide. But what the NRSA allows you to do is focus those dollars within a specific area. As Mr. Norris mentioned, it allows you to attract and leverage private sector funding, and it gives you certain flexibility around doing mixed income housing projects, of not having to do a significant amount of discouraging paperwork in terms of tracking jobs and so on. It doesn't bring any additional federal funding to you. It just allows you to focus those federal funds in a specific area. And to the question of whether it's a low-income area, there are certain criteria that the area must meet, and that is that the population has to be at least 70% of that population has to be low moderate income. It also has to be primarily a residential area. So based on the census tract and how you carve out that area will determine whether the area qualifies or not to be an NRSA. I hope that answered that question.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Councilor Alexander.
Yes, I have some housing projects in my district. Will they qualify for this project?
Is that a question for me?
Yes, it is.
I'm not sure what your district is. My understanding
My
is
district is more than 70% low income.
Right. But my understanding is that District 3 is where you are thinking about starting this with maybe including a portion of District 2 as well. So
okay,
I'm not sure what your district is. So.
I am District 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am, Councilor Crusoe. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How's everyone else this morning? I wasn't clear. I mean, well, he made mention as far as in District 3 and 2 being the initial districts that he has listed to start in. Would you by any chance know where District 7 falls on that?
Counselor, this is Mr. Nars. We haven't identified. The only area we know definitely that will be included would be the area immediately around Juanita Hill Place. And that again is because we do not have a neighborhood plan for that particular area. So we will have to target that area. Again, we have not identified the full boundary yet. That is why we're working with the consultant to find out what would be the best boundary. And once we do have that put together, if you look in your packet at the outline that Ask Development Solutions presented, we will bring that back to the council and say this is the recommended area that we will propose to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. But we have not identified how wide the boundary area will be yet or how small it will be. We just need to get in and look at the data and look at the demographics and see what can be accomplished and in what particular areas we can actually make an impact.
And just to add as well that the fact that you set aside an NRSA for the investment of CDBG funds does not mean that the rest of the city would not receive or the activities or projects be eligible for CDBG. You're not, I mean, I'm assuming, Mr. Norris, you're not focusing all the resources within the NRSA, just a portion into that.
That's correct. We will still continue to carry out our other activities, which are citywide.
What portion is
Madam
that?
Chair.
One moment, Councilor Matthews. Mr. Norris, what portion is that we're looking to set aside for NRSA?
Council, it's really going to depend on how much we can get leveraged. As you heard Mr. Plummer say, we really are going to need some private investment in that particular area as well. So we're looking at leveraging dollars. So for every $1, you're possibly setting aside from your CDBG funds, you'd be looking maybe to bring in anywhere from 50 cents to $1.50 from maybe some private investment. So this won't be so CDBG intensive. We're really looking at setting aside an area and hoping we can bring in some private investment as well that can help spur revitalization.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I could give an example.
Mr. Plummer, go ahead.
Yeah, I could give an example. In the city of Detroit, what we did in the NRSAs that we developed is that one of the agents, the partner that we work with, Local Initiative Support Corporation, was able to attract private sector funding from it was Bank of America and match the CDBG dollars and provided a 0% interest loan for home repairs, which allowed not just low-income persons to benefit, but some persons, a small percentage of persons above low income. Because in Detroit at the time, it did not matter if you had great credit, it didn't matter if you had income, because of loan to values, because of other factors, you could not get a loan to repair your home in the city of Detroit. And at the time, the city was going through their bankruptcy restructuring, and they were trying to keep residents. That was their objective, to keep residents within the city. So we were able to do that public-private sector loan program using both CDBG and private dollars. And that program continues to this day.
Councilor Matthews.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Back in March of 2019, I remembered after seeing this in our pack, this is a publication came out during Mayor Bowser's research on homelessness in the all over the United States, but there was a circulation called "How Can the Community Benefit from an NRSA?" And I'm going to share that with the council, and it tells a lot about NRSA and CDBG funds and how they can be involved in the housing units, job creation, retentions such as low to moderate income area benefit, aggregated public benefit of standard exemption, and public service cap on exemption. So all of that involved in the CDBG entitlement program centered around neighborhood revitalization. And I know in the city of Detroit, they did bring that up because there was some revitalization in the Leavenworth area. Am I right, Mr.
Yes,
Plummer?
You're correct, sir.
Right. So we did touch on that with Mayor Bowser during that segment with National League of Cities. So, but anyway, thank you, Mr. Plummer, for your insight on that.
Yeah.
Councilors. Now, the second part of
Madam
this.
Chair.
Yes,
Madam
sir,
Chair.
Councilor
Just one comment. I'm excited about the possibilities of this program, but it sounds like what I'm hearing in terms of leveraging dollars with CDBG funds is that the whole idea is to have the study done to see where we might have the most immediate impact rather than spending a few dollars here, a few dollars there, but it never adds up to really, show that it's making a real impact. So am I correct in kind of summarizing it that way, is that we need the most impact and the most ability to leverage dollars so that we can get that impact?
I would say, Councilor, this is Terrain. I would say, yes, that's fairly accurate. That's why we have to sit down with the consultant. That would be Mr. Plummer's group. And thank you, Councilor Matthews, for pointing some of those things out with the NRSA, because that is important. I think we'd be only the second city in Alabama to even do this program. I think Mobile is the other one. But yes, Councilor, you are correct. So it's really about really seeing how we can impact a particular area with under the NRSA designation. And then if it's successful, that's something the city can look at trying in some other areas as well. I think Mr. Plummer, you correct me if I'm wrong. I think the NRSA designations are only about 3 to 5 years from HUD. And
That's
generally
correct.
within that 3 to 5 year period, they look and see what type of impact you're making in a particular area. And so if we can outline some goals and objectives for that area, and Councilman Matthews pointed this out, some of it deals with housing, some of it deals with job creation, others deal with public services that can be targeted in a particular area. You can take whatever impacts, you can take that template in a particular area and duplicate it in some other areas of the city, because it's been pointed out, we do have a large segment of our city that would meet probably some of those low moderate income criteria that would be able to be designated, but we can't do the entire city because we wind up losing that impact. So we would look at targeting some of our CDBG funds, not all of them. We'd still carry out activities in other parts of the cities, but we look at targeting some of our CDBG funds in this area on things like housing, again, public services, maybe some public infrastructure work, and seeing if we can't make a difference in a particular area, and then seeing if we can possibly, if we're successful, duplicate that in other areas around the city.
Yeah, that's correct. And you could also, it's also about using some of the strategies and tools that we'll be able to bring from other areas, not just Detroit, but smaller size areas that we have worked on with CDBG, how to get the financial institutions involved. If you have foundations, how to set up a neighborhood loan fund, how to do HUD Section 3 and ensure that low-income jobs are generated out of your CDBG investments. Those are some of the strategies that we bring to the table. And in Detroit, we did the first one, which was the largest in the country. I mean, almost the entire, it was 5 NRSAs across the city. And we just submitted the renewal of that for another 5 years, and that was approved by HUD. And I can probably share a report with you as to some of the outcomes out of that, so you can kind of see some of the, even though it's on a larger scale, you can kind of see some of the strategies and positive outcomes that came out of that.
Madam President, one final statement, if I may, please.
Yes, sir.
I kind of look at this in a similar fashion as to the designation of opportunity zones. Okay, and then private investors coming in to take advantage of some of the tax credits that they can get by concentrating some of their monies into the opportunity zone. And the opportunity zone is defined as a strict area, and seems that part of the opportunity zone objective is to have some immediate impact in a concentrated area. So I kind of see this in some sense similar to the NRSA project. Thank you.
I would have to say, Councilor Marshall, I don't see it that way because our opportunity zone is not up to 70% of low to moderately incomed citizens. But any other counselor? So what we're leaving here, going to terrain, I see that there's 35,000 that the consultants are asking. Is that what we're building up to? So we can do the consult. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. And I also want to point out Mr. Plummer and his group will be visiting the city, and they will be meeting with stakeholders. So if any council members would like to sit down and talk with them and find out a lot more about the program and provide your insights at that time, they'll be here to do that. And so we'd love to have you all.
I think that would be a wonderful opportunity for all counselors to sit down and gather their thoughts and speak with Mr. Plummer about the city of Bessemer Thank you, Mr. Plummer. And we'll
Thank
see
you.
you on the other side.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Look
Thank you,
forward to working
Terrain.
with you.
Item number 7, please.
Item 7, the Corns Club of Bessemer is requesting the fee waive for room 105 at the Bessemer Recreation Center. Mr. Bill Moore.
Madam President.
Yes, sir, Mr. Councilor Collier.
Yes, ma'am. I had that put on. The Corn Club has been, as you know, has been a representative of giving tours out in the city of Bessemer for quite a while. They just need that room again that they had not last year because of COVID, but the year before. So they're asking it at no charge.
Is that the east or the smaller room?
That's the smaller room. That's the room when you come to the right. I don't know if it's just the smaller one. You come through the right side, right door, and it's on the right side. Is that correct, Mr. Woodard? Is Mr. Woodard on? Well, he probably not. But that's normally the room to the right side when you first enter the rec.
And what day is that, Mr. Councilor Collier?
I don't have that in front of me, but it's normally like the 19th or the 20th. It's normally 5 days before.
For Christmas.
4 or 5 days. Yes, ma'am.
Councilors, I don't see it to be a problem. Councilors? We'll have a resolution ready on the
That
1st,
sounds good.
Yes, Madam President.
December the 18th, Councilor Collins.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Councilor Matthews, was that you?
No, I was just agreeing. That's
Okay. All right, Councilor Collier, we'll have a resolution ready for you the first meeting of September to vote on that room at the rec center.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Item number 6, please.
Item 6, nonprofit.
Councilors, I had that placed on for the year 2021. We only had 3 people to submit nonprofit applications. My questions to this body, do we want to go back and pull the applications from the year 2020 in with 2021 because of COVID? Councilors.
Ask that question again, Madam Chair.
2020, 2021. Well, 2021, we only had 3 applications for that came in on time, applications for nonprofit. And these 3 did not receive your PPP funding. Now, my question to this body is, do you want to go back and entertain the 2020 because of COVID, or just entertain the 2021?
Well, only 3 submitted something for 2021. Is that what you're
Correct.
saying?
Correct.
Were they, and you don't know the reason why the other ones did not?
I don't know, but we went through the same process as we've been going through. We advertised in the 3 newspapers.
Yeah.
So we went through the same process, and that wasn't a decision that I needed to make. I wanted this body to make that decision, please.
Yeah, and I agree. Attorney Payton, if we advertised in 2021 and received 3, wouldn't we be, I guess more in tune to be obligated to deal with 2021 opposed to 2020?
I would like to look, we only, how many did we receive in 2021?
3.
We received 3.
In 2021, and how about 2020?
2020, we received up to 12.
Okay. If you don't mind, I'd like to look at the advertisement and see what we did. And
Yeah.
to answer the question correctly.
Okay,
I'll do that.
okay.
Who
And just
advertised
get-
that? Did Wanda advertise that?
Wanda did advertise.
Wanda, do you think, could you send me over that advertisement?
Yes, Shane, I send it to you.
Thanks.
Madam President,
Yes, yes, ma'am.
is there any reason we can't extend the date and go ahead and advertise again?
This council can do what it wants to do.
Yeah.
I was just
I mean,
getting
I
ready
think
to
it would
tell
be
you.
prudent to go ahead and
It
just
is-
advertise it again.
That is why I came to the body. It is up to this body whether or not we want to go on, and we can go back and advertise again if this body so says.
And Madam Chair, I tend to agree with Council Thigpen, rather than to look back on 2020. Let's just deal with 2021 and ask that and do an extension, and let's deal with 2021 opposed to even going back to 2020. I mean, I concur.
That the consensus of this body.
I concur with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Miss Taylor,
Yes, ma'am.
we'll start the advertising on the first business day of September. Is that correct?
I need to see a calendar. Yeah, we can do that if we can get Shane to do a resolution.
He'll get a Attorney Payton. Can we get a resolution over to start on the 1st, which is that Wednesday, where we usually start on a Wednesday, September 1, and we'll carry it to October the 2nd. Is that correct?
Are you going to do 4 weeks of advertising? Is that my understanding?
That is 4 weeks, yes.
And that will be in the, is it in the Western Star or the Western Star Birmingham Times? How did you want to do that?
And the Birmingham News.
Birmingham News and the Western Star, 4 weeks. Okay.
And the Birmingham Times, we put it in 3.
Yes, ma'am. We'll do that.
Council, is that the consent of this body?
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much. We'll start, we'll get that resolution over. We'll add it to the agenda for today. Go ahead and get that resolution. Thank you so much. Item number, it should be 8. Item number 8, status of Facebook Live. I placed that on there. Mayor Gully, Mr. Singleton. Mayor Gully, Mr. Singleton. I can't hear you, Mayor Gully. I can. Okay.
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Singleton and I did meet concerning some options that we have for Facebook Live. I'm gonna let him speak and stuff to those options and each one of those options we call. Mr. Singleton, are you on the line? Rick?
I guess his device is acting like mine did.
No, I'm here. Give me just a second.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was in another room. Yes, sir. Good morning, Mayor, City Council.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm assuming that you missed in the part that I see you and I had met and you had several options and you would present those options at this time.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm
okay.
sorry. Someone got me in the hallway and told me someone was calling for me.
Okay.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I want to say thank you, and this has been a journey, putting this Facebook together. However, I did speak with Swag IT, and the mayor and I did have a conversation and looked at several options. I did speak with Swag IT and I received a quote for equipment for the council chamber and the pre-council room, along with streaming services and director services. And that quote came in at a total of $83,000. That includes the equipment and the streaming services. It's an additional $8,700 annually. With that being said, I took it upon myself to also look locally and speak with some vendors we've done business with the city of Bessemer. Sir?
Mr. Singleton, excuse me for interrupting you. But I think you froze up on I know on me. I don't know if you froze up on everyone. So I appreciate it if you can repeat that cost. Because I did not hear it because we froze up. I can't speak for everyone else. Madam President, did you all hear that?
Yes, sir. I heard the 83,000 and for the materials and 8,700 yearly. Yes, sir. I heard it. But Mr. Singleton, go ahead for those who did not hear it.
Yes, ma'am. Swag IT submitted a quote to outfit the council chamber and the pre-council. The equipment cost is $83,062. The services, the streaming services, is an additional annual cost of $8,700 a year, and that's for directing services and streaming services to Facebook Live. I also reached out to local vendors that we've done business with the city of Bessemer that could offer identical or very similar like services, particularly director and streaming services, because I know that was very important. And I received 2 additional quotes, only 2. Only one was identical, not identical as far as the equipment, but identical as far as the equipment brand, but identical as far as the setup. And that individual, which was Alexa Audio and Video, came in at $28,526, and that's a turnkey solution to outfit the council chambers and outfit the pre-council with equipment and provide the streaming services and directing services. And that's excuse me, and that's a total cost, including the streaming services, the annual streaming services for 75 meetings throughout the year. The third quote was from American Video, and that quote came in for equipment at a cost of $15,883.67. Unfortunately, this vendor could not meet the directing service. They did meet the streaming service. However, they did not meet the directing service.
That was 15 what? 15 what?
$15,883.
Okay.
That's equipment and to stream, but not direct.
Okay.
And I spoke to other vendors. Unfortunately, they could not match what Swag IT was providing. I know we were very impressed with what they provided with the county, so I want to make sure that I presented apples to apples. And the one that came close was American Video. However, Alexa Audio and Video presented identical services and equipment. And these are professional, established companies that we've actually done business with and that are well known in the community.
These are local vendors, did you say,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Singleton?
Yes, ma'am. They are local to Jefferson County. Yes,
And
ma'am.
that's 28,000 for the materials, the streaming, and the 75 meetings per year.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is with the council chambers and the multi-purpose room.
Yes, ma'am. That is correct.
Ms. Singleton, let me ask a question. How soon, if the council goes along with Alexia, how soon can we get this set up to stream live via Facebook?
I might want to go with Swagger.
Well, that's your choice. We're gonna vote on.
Yeah, I understand. You just mentioned Alexia. Oh, that's being sarcastic, but go ahead.
Oh, thank you. How long will it be for any of them that we go with for them to be up and running?
I'm not quite certain, Madam President. I didn't pose that question, unfortunately. I apologize. It just popped in my mind when you said I didn't pose how long it would take. I can say, I can say from experience in the last 2 months, just getting materials to do small projects such as the replacing faulty mics or the recording system or the microphone system in the council chamber took a couple of weeks, and that was because of materials, actually getting materials. So I can't quite, I can't say when they can install without actually asking that question of them, but I can say from the last couple of months, getting equipment in, it's been slower than usual to get that in.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Question to Mr. Singleton. I think one of the things that some of us have had concerns about was the ability of the public to comment, on the live stream as the meeting is going on. What's your take from the companies in regards to that, even if you queried them regarding that?
Mr. Marshall, Council Marshall, I've seen communication after communication, even from Ms. And recently from Ms. Hayes from the county, and we're all in agreement that we do not have the ability. I assume you're asking about the comment section. We do not have the ability to turn it off. I've spoken with the vendors out actually also if their equipment had that ability, and the answer was no.
Me personally, I don't have a problem with comments from the public. I would welcome comments, but even with that, we can have a waiver as to what they can and cannot put on the city's website. Is that correct? Is that correct,
Madam Chair? I'm sorry,
Mr. Singleton?
Madam President, yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I stated I don't have a problem with comments. I actually welcome them. But even with that, there is a waiver that the city of Bessemer can put out there that tells them that what they can and cannot place on the city website. Is that correct?
On the city website, ma'am?
Yes, sir. On the Facebook Live.
Yes, ma'am. We have the ability to post pretty much anything to the or any instructions that we approve or that we want to post to the site, if that's what you're asking me.
Yes, sir. That is what I'm asking.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilor Marshall.
Madam Chair, I don't think that's what the question is. The question is, as the meeting is going on live, there is no way to monitor what citizens can say and we can see during that meeting. I don't know what kind of waiver you're talking about. Once they do it, it's done. It's out there. And that's my streaming is no problem as far as I'm concerned. But the comment portion of it, I mean, nobody wants to be sitting in a meeting and people are saying derogatory or maybe saying things that are not very nice, and they're scrolling in front of you. And that's the part that Mr. Singleton is saying, that the vendors are saying that they can't stop, they can't control that. So that's my biggest issue.
Okay, other councilors?
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Birmingham has those streaming services, and if you look at Birmingham or Jefferson County's meetings, you don't have, people do leave comments, but you don't have them leaving erroneous things under the comment section. You don't. and I welcome all comments or
Madam
criticism.
Councilor Collier.
I'm in agreement with Councilman Marshall. It's just to protect the brand of the city. The city is moving at such a rapid pace. We just need to be protective of the brand. The comments that they have, could affect the brand of the city. That's my statement.
Thank you, sir. Any other counselor?
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
we keep coming back to the same thing. Being overly concerned concerning the comments of the citizens. True leaders. It's all in perspective and perception. If a citizen has something to say that we may not agree with, and sometimes the truth hurts in some instances. We can't continue to run from how our citizens feel. To be honest with you, having a chance to hear what it is that they have to say, if we are true leaders, it should prompt us to go back to the drawing board to eradicate or to rectify whatever complaints or issues that's being conveyed. I support going forth as far as with the Facebook Live, be it whether they have comments. I mean, it's no different from them coming in into the chamber and standing up at the mic and bashing us weekly. It's no different. So when we took on these positions as city council, we took on these positions to stand for the citizens, and we all can agree that we can't please every citizen in our district or every citizen in the city of Bessemer. We can't please them all. There are some who applaud and are appreciative of our services, but for the naysayers, we still have to represent them as well. So let's go forth. And like I said, if any negative comments should come through, let's use that as more ammunition to work together and better ourselves for the citizens here in the city of Bessemer. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Crusoe.
Madam President.
Attorney, was that Councilor Thickpen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Councilor Thickpen.
I don't have a problem with the comments. I mean, they could be derogatory, but most people will consider the source. They'll know who it is and who's making the comments. And I think there'll be so few of them that, there'll be so few of them that I don't think it will make that much difference. As long as the council members are not sitting there watching it and making comments back, I don't have a problem.
Absolutely. That is my stand. As long as we are focused on what the business of the city is at that point in time, we can answer comments if we choose to after planning and or council meeting. Attorney Payton.
I'm sorry, Madam Chairman, what's the question?
Councilors, now you've heard 83,000, 28,000, 15,818, but the 15,818 did not have, was that the direct streaming? Is that correct, Mr. Singleton?
Madam President, that would be direct and services.
Direct and services. So we're looking at 83,000, 83,000 for the equipment and 8,700 annually for swag IT, which is out of town. And we're looking at Alexia, which is 28,000 with everything included. Is that correct, Mr. Singleton?
Yes, ma'am. That's $28,526 with everything, turnkey solution.
Madam President, this is Shan. Based on what I'm hearing, I need to check on a couple of things. I need to check on to see if either one of these are prices or part of the state bid list, or whether there's some type of cooperative agreement they're acting under that is authorized by the state of Alabama, because both of them are in excess of the 15,000 bid list requirement for purchase. So I'll need to look at both of those contracts to see if they're allowable or whether we would have to bid it.
And Madam Chair, may I ask
Yes,
you a
sir.
question?
Yes,
And
sir.
if they're not, worst case scenario, we'd have to do a RFP, attorney.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Attorney Payton, how soon do you think you can look at those and give us an answer? Because we do want to try to at least be up and going by the second meeting in September.
Well, I know Rick sent me some stuff. I don't think I saw anything on that. What was it, the Alexia? If you'll send me both of those contracts, Rick, and let me look at them, and then let's review it and see. I mean, if they're part of a cooperative that's approved by the state, that's pretty easy. If they're not, you have to do an RFP. You're not going to be up by the second meeting in September. But if they are, then you will be. So I can review it pretty quickly and determine whether they're part of a cooperative. So I should be able to let you know by the first meeting in September whether they are.
And Madam Chair, one other question I have to ask. May I?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. What line item would this come out of? Did we ever identify that?
Are you speaking to me, Councilor Matthews?
Yeah.
No, sir, we did not identify.
Okay.
We did not identify, but I think in one of our resolutions, we did, it was stated that we could have used CARES Act funding for this.
Okay.
There's funding if we're looking for a line item, there's funding in the IT that can be used for this item.
Madam President.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure and so that's a correct comment, because I can recall my preference is for us to look at the budget and find a line item for it to come out of.
Okay.
The last and I'm trying. You called me and asked me and stuff which line item. I think the last proposal that we had, and I did have and stuff some trouble trying to find and stuff what line item and stuff that it should come out of. I was under the impression that we would work toward making sure that this was included in the next in the next general fund budget. But if we're going to shoot for a September 2nd up and running date, there's two things that we'll need and stuff to do. We'll need to check with both those companies and see if they can meet that deadline. But we also just need to take a look at the budget and see which line items and stuff that will come out of, because it's somewhat difficult after the fact for me to locate a line item for it and stuff to come out and so forth.
Yes,
and,
sir. We
and
go ahead, sir.
And when you make the comment, Mr. Singleton, are you aware of something in your budget and stuff of a line item that this can come out of?
No, sir, I'm not.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am, Councilor Alexander.
I'm not trying to get off the topic, but I know last week or week before last, I got a call about some engineering work or paving work in my district at blocks. And can we look at the line item that money would have came out of to look to see can we use that money to fund this, please?
That was 2017, is that correct?
Yes, but I got a call from him, a text from the owner week before last asking about us paying, I think it was like almost $500,000 for engineering service for a road. So I was wondering what line item would have came out of, and if we're not going to support that, then can we use the money out of that line item for this project? Thanks.
Madam President, to that end, I have no idea and so which line item that would have come out of. That and stuff was from 2017. I would have had no idea which line item that would have come out of. We still would have had to sit down around the table and decide which line item that money would have come from. So
Okay,
it would be the same scenario.
Let us,
Thank you, Mayor Gully.
thank you, Councilor Alexander Mayor Gully. Let us sit down around the table, Mayor Gully, and as soon as possible, maybe sometime this week, you can look at your schedule and see whether or not you have some time we can sit down and see whether or not we can find this these fundings to go ahead and fund this project with. And you did say that you did find a line item for the refund. Do I need to come up after council meeting, or do we need to call a special call meeting so that everyone will know what line item we took these fundings from?
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
I think Finance Director Pryor sent that information and so to you. I guess through my office. I guess she sent it to me and I forwarded it on. It's up to you. That line item that came from. But I have no problems of if she wants to give an update on that.
Is Ms. Pryor on the line? I do apologize, Mayor Gully. I have been having some problems with my email as this morning, as Sunday. I could not even get in on the meeting on Sunday. But Ms. Pryor, thank you so much. I did not receive that information. Ms. Pryor, are you on the line?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, and I'm sorry I had stepped away. What's the question?
The line
Pryor, if
item.
you recall,
Go ahead, Mayor.
Ms. Pryor, if you recall, the line items we spoke of concerning the reimbursement back to the federal government to be reallocated back to us. We had a request and stuff from Council President Donald as to which line item that was coming out of. You submitted it to me and I in turn submitted it to her office. Do you recall right off the top of your head where what that line item was?
Yes, sir. We discussed that, and let me see if I can get my hands on it. Right now, it was administrative fees, which is, do you want the account number?
Please.
Okay, 001 000 dot 528088, and it's administrative fees.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Pryor. Thank you, Mayor Gully. Councilors, we'll wait until Attorney Payton has examined the contracts with this Facebook Live. We hope that we can go ahead and get these done quickly so that we will be up and running hopefully in the month of September. Thank you all so much. Item number 9, please.
Discussion on bonus for employees / status on the American Rescue Fund.
Okay, Mayor Gully, the status of the American Rescue Fund was placed on by me. Have we received any of the funds from the American Rescue Funds?
Madam President, we have not at this particular time. As a matter of fact, I will have once again Finance Director Pryor to speak to that and the process we had to go through in order and stuff to request the funds. Director Pryor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So we have requested those funds to come back in. We've done that just on last week. And we don't have a definitive date as to when those funds will come. They are working them. What they're telling us when we call in is that they are working all of those reimbursements as quickly as they can. So they're not giving us a deadline or anything, but we have done all the paperwork that is required at this point to receive the funding. We will receive just shy of $7 million on the first deposit. 12 months following that, we will receive the second portion of that, so another $7 million. It comes in two parts. We'll get one part, and then 12 months later, we will get the second part, which is another $7 million.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, go
ahead, Councilor Alexander.
Yes, Mayor Goodley, have you started to work on your comprehensive plan for the rescue money? So you could get it to us so we could sit around the table and make plans for this money, knowing that we have this money coming. And also, I would request that you take a look into giving our employees more than a $2 raise, if we can afford more than a $2 raise with this rescue money or either in the upcoming budget. Thank you.
Councilor Alexander, are you looking for an answer from the mayor or myself?
Yes, I asked the mayor about the comprehensive plan for the rescue funding and to see, can we give the employees a raise along with the budget? If not, can we look into giving them a raise once he starts doing the budget this year?
Madam President, I'll be working on my plan. What the body chooses and stuff to give and stuff to employees. My preference would be, and so if this council body will let me know, I'm very doubtful and stuff that anybody's gonna take and stuff a request and stuff from me. So why don't you tell me what you want and stuff to do, give and stuff to employees, so we can cut out and stuff a whole lot and stuff of the BS, so to speak, when it comes and stuff to that. But as for my comprehensive plan, yes, I'll be working on that. I think and so that you all can decide what you want and stuff to do for the employees.
Well, we had already established 2,500. I was asking on your end about a raise. I know that that comes from you, but a raise for the employees possibly. That's all I was asking.
I wasn't aware that 2,500 had already been established, but if 2,500 and stuff from the rescue fund has already been established, that's fine. I'll submit and stuff as I usually do in my proposed budget to the council, what I think and stuff the city can afford and stuff in a cost of living increase and so to the employees.
Thank you, Mayor Gunley.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
I know when we had executive meeting at the league, we had some of the I guess comptroller say that the American Rescue Plan monies to get to cities where cities had to request, and I guess this would be directed to Ms. Pryor. Did we go through the portal and do the request, and that's when it came back that we'll get the 7. You said 7, and I didn't write it down. You said 7. What did you say? 7 million through that portal. Did it identify it on the portal, or that's just about half of the finances that we have received?
Yes,
Ms.
sir.
Pryor.
Yes, sir. So it does identify the total amount that the city will receive, which is, excuse me, it's about 13.9 million. So I just divided that number in half basically, because what they didn't tell us how much we would get on the first round or on the second round. But of course we can just divide that number by 2, because it did tell us that we will get half on the first round And then in 12 months, we will get the second installment. So I just divided that number by 2. But on the
Right, and that,
portal, it does say that we will get the 13.9 million.
right. And also on that portal, there is a list of all the states in the city of Alabama, all the cities in the state of Alabama that have received. So I was just looking at it yesterday, and I was when I didn't see Bessemer, it kind of, you know. But anyway, hopefully in the next few days we'll see Bessemer on that list as well.
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
Councilor Matthews, initially, we were told that all cities under 50,000 would have to, the state would administer the distribution and some other funding. Upon reaching out to the state and so to see exactly where the funding and stuff was, for some reason, Bessemer had to then apply themselves, and we were not administered and so through the state. And I cannot verify why. We were told that that cities under 50,000 would be administered through the state, and then when we reach out to the state, Bessemer and some of the others and several other cities were not. So we had to apply then for our own American Rescue funding. So that may have been the whole up that you're speaking and so forth.
Probably so, because I know other cities that are our population size are not on that list. So that validates that statement you just made. And I won't name them, but yeah, appreciate that, man.
Thank you, Ms.
Madam
President. Yes, sir.
Just need some clarification. I heard Councilwoman Alexander said 2,500. She said we sat down and we met and came up with that amount. Is that's something we just throwing out there? Just we want to give the employees. I just want to be clear because I don't want the employees to get the wrong impression. I want them to receive the correct.
That's what we had thrown out there. I've said it.
Okay.
Councilor Donald said it. We kind of said that money because we've been getting hit with employees talking about Birmingham, and like I let them know, we're not as big as Birmingham, and we didn't get as much money as Birmingham. So me, Councilor Donald, Councilor Crusoe, we have said it adamantly in the meeting since we knew we were going to get this money. We throw it around the $2,500 because I know what they got last time.
Okay. I was just trying to make.
I'm not saying we made a solid. I'm not saying that it was concrete and stone, but that's what the amount that was thrown around.
Yeah, because it'll be taken and ran with it, and if it for instance the money's short in a type of way or some plan, and I don't want anybody to be upset saying you told us that's what we was gonna get. So just wanted to be clear on that.
Madam President,
what would be your take on it, Mr. Collier, Councilman Collier? What do you think is fair for the employees to get? What do you think is a fair number?
Well, that'll be something we can sit down and discuss once all the numbers come in. I'm not willing to discuss anything until we get the money in hand. I want the money in hand before I promise anything.
Mayor Gully.
Madam President, whatever amount is decided, as I say, I'm not opposed and so to any thing that we choose to do for our employees, but it has to do, it will still have to be done from a longevity standpoint, to my understanding. And so it couldn't be across the board 2,500. It would have to be in some form of an increment. Attorney Payton and stuff, am I correct on that?
Typically, the only way you could do it would be with a longevity pay. You're correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Gully. Are you finished, Councilor Alexander?
No, ma'am. So can we look into how did Birmingham give their employees across the board to 5,000 I keep hearing the longevity. So can we look into that process to where how they came up and determined to give their employees $5,000 across the board instead of staggering the money to employees using that longevity word? And I think they got the same money we got from the rescue plan, right?
No, they did not. And they got 141 million.
No. I'm saying the money came from the same rescue plan. We didn't get the same amount, but it came from the same plan.
But we got to look at this, Councilor Alexander. They got a whole lot more than the city of Bessemer has. So as soon as we get some funding in, I think that will be the first thing that we can put on our agenda to talk about is how we can give our employees funding, whether it be longevity or however. I think that will be in order.
Madam President,
So
I'm not opposed to that. I'd ask some Attorney Payton to look at it and stuff the way Birmingham distributed. I don't know if they did it from a longevity standpoint, but I do know with different class cities and there's different laws for different class cities. I don't know, and so when it comes from the personnel board and stuff, or the way and stuff that is done, but I would stand to agree and stuff with that from a standpoint of. Attorney Payton, you can take a look at the way Birmingham distributed theirs. I just know from that it's always been distributed, and so when you're giving a bonus or a gift to employees, it has always had to be done from a longevity standpoint. Now, if there are some provision in the law that says and so that you don't have to do that, then I welcome that.
Madam Chair.
yes, sir.
And I think when, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I'm trying to understand Councilor Alexander's statement / question. She was saying that we all get all this money is coming from the rescue plan. I think that was the I guess the stance she was taking. If every city is getting money from the American Rescue Plan, why don't they just give the employees? Why can't they do like Birmingham or Oxford or Anniston or some other city or Tuscaloosa? I think that was her statement that she was trying to make. Am I right, Councilor Alexander?
Yes, Councilor Matthews. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So, Madam President, and again, I think it is more to do with the Jefferson County Personnel Board regulations that we need to look at on bonuses and whether you can give bonuses or whether you can't give bonuses. And that's why in the past they do allow in the Personnel Board regulations for longevity pay. So I think that's why cities within Jefferson County have granted longevity pay as opposed to bonuses. I don't know that Oxford, for instance, they certainly wouldn't be subject to the same Jefferson County Personnel Board regulation.
I just mentioned Oxford, but if we want to stick with Jefferson County, Birmingham, Pleasant Grove, or whoever, I was just trying to establish what the question that she was asking, if Birmingham did it in a fashion of a bonus opposed to a longevity, why can't we do it in the fashion of a bonus as well? So, I mean, we can check with them and see what the law says and
yes, sir. And
go from there.
Yes, sir. I think you're right. I'll check with Birmingham's legal department and see how they did it. And
okay.
Right. We'll check with Birmingham and see how that's done. To me, whether it's longevity and or bonus, as long as the employees received some of the fundings that the city of Bessemer have received for their hard work. Item number 10, please.
Item 10 is ordinance policy requiring the wearing of face coverings in all municipal buildings located in the city of Bessemer.
Miss Taylor, will you read that into the records of the city of Bessemer, please?
I do not, wait a minute, hold on, let me see. I don't have that ordinance. I
Madam
didn't.
Chair, Madam
Yes,
Chair,
sir.
I mean, why are we reading this into the minutes? I mean, it's an item that's on the meeting agenda for us to vote on. I mean, we should have already read it.
We
I
can
mean,
read it now or we can read it in the meeting, either or. It doesn't make me any difference when we
I mean,
read it, as long as we read it into the minutes. Thank you,
I mean,
Councilor Marshall.
no,
Item
no,
number,
no, no.
item
Madam
number
Chair, no.
11, please.
Madam Chair, Madam Chair, Madam Chair. Trying to be
Councilor Marshall.
respectful. I'm trying to be
Councilor Marshall.
respectful. Madam
Councilor
Chair.
Marshall. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Every ordinance or resolution that we vote on, we don't read into the minutes. We do not read into the minutes. We have had the material to go over prior to the meeting, and we come prepared to vote on the item. And we don't read every ordinance into the minutes. The minutes speak for themselves once we adopt the ordinance or the resolution. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Councilor Marshall. I'll appreciate it. Ms. Taylor, when you get those minutes down, we'll read it into the minutes on the agenda, please. Thank you. Item number 11, please.
Item 11 is a resolution extending the Bessemer Street paving project contract with Central Alabama's Asphalt and Construction LLC until September 9th, 2022.
Mayor Gurley, is that a Ron Gilbert, or can you speak to that?
Madam President, yes, I'm gonna let Mr. Ron Gilbert speak to that. Ron, are you on the line?
Good morning, Mayor and Council. This is Daniel. Ron couldn't attend this morning, so I'll speak to that. If you recall last year, this is the Bessemer Water Street patching paving project that the council approved last year. And the contract for last year was executed on September 9th of 2020. And we are seeking another year extension on that contract. This contractor has right now, so far through July, the contract's only at $497,000. He's averaging about $50,000 a month, and we're well under budget of the $663,000 contract. And we recommend extending that another year at the same unit price cost, which will save the city money having to bid it out again and advertise it again. And this contractor, the prices are really fair and reasonable, and the work of this contractor has been excellent. So it is our recommendation that you move forward with extending it another year at the current prices.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am, Councilor Crusoe.
Will you be so kind, if you don't mind, as far as then kind of revisiting some of the details of this contract with this paving company? Is this contract of with this paving company, is it for in the event that other utility companies or someone comes into the city of Bessemer and disturb the pavement? You know, is for this contract with Central Alabama Asphalt and Construction to come in to do repairs after such work?
Yes, ma'am, Councilor Crusoe, it does cover that as well. And anything, and it covers all the Bessemer water. When they have a leak and they have to mess up the pavement, they go back and patch that area, and Bessemer Water pays all of theirs out of the Bessemer Water account.
Okay, I mean, here's another, my question is, in the event of Bessemer Utility, like Allegasco, Spire, or some other entity coming in and disrupting the asphalt here in the city of Bessemer, not just the city of Bessemer, any municipality, Are they not responsible for leaving things as they were before they came? Are they not responsible?
Yes, ma'am, you are correct. Alabama Power, Spire, AT&T, they're all responsible for patching back when they make a cut in the street. They can, at their own option, do their own work as long as it meets our guidelines and regulations, or they can use this contractor and reimburse and pay the city up front for that cost.
So with this $497,000 that we're up to at this point, what part of that was reimbursed from any of those entities or that have come in and disrupted the pavement here in the city of Bessemer?
So there was very minimal, there's only been like 2 plumbers that have come in and done the work and done that. The rest of that, probably only about 4,000 or 5,000 of it's been with the plumbers. The rest of it has been Bessemer Water, because Spire and AT&T use their own paving contractors. So the majority of 99% of this is all Bessemer Water.
So, I mean, if we're, these are basically the Bessemer Utilities repairs that we're being responsible for. In all fairness, I mean, I understand, you know, and the suggestion that you made as far as in continuing with this company, but in all fairness and for liability purposes, shouldn't we go forth as far as in advertising this and following the proper protocol for other contractors as well?
Councilor Crusoe, state law, bid law says you can extend the contract annually for 2 additional years if both parties agree on the current prices. And that's what we're recommending.
Okay, I mean, my question concerning, in all fairness to other contractors, I was talking to my co-counsels at that time. But thank you so much for your answers concerning that.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Councilors, are there any other questions and or concerns? If not, we'll take this up on the agenda. Item number 12, please. Item number 12, please.
Brownfield application.
This was placed on by Councilor Alexander. Councilor Alexander.
Madam Chair, we can delete this item. I do have the information from Mr. Nard. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll delete item 12. Item number 13, please.
Municipal elections administered by Jefferson County.
I think this was added by Councilor Crusoe. Councilor Crusoe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is of my concern. I know in some of our previous municipal elections, the election was contracted out to other entities, and I think at one time we were being told that Jefferson County was not available to accommodate or to facilitate that election at that said time. My question or my concern is that as far as with the municipal elections, that we I guess vote upon some type ordinance or code or whatever term that that it needs to be to ensure that municipal elections here in the city of Bessemer be administered by Jefferson County rather than a private entity.
Attorney Payton, I think that would be for you.
Yes, ma'am. Municipal elections are governed by Title 17 of the Code of Alabama. So we follow Title 17 and the municipal portions that under Title 11 for municipal elections. Now, the only item that I know that Jefferson County.
Title 17 or Title 11? I'm trying to write down what you're saying.
Title 17 and Title 11. Title 11 is some general municipal sections, and there's sections in there regarding elections, but they have been overridden somewhat by Title 17, which is the general state election requirement. Now, we follow those code sections. Typically, the only services that Jefferson County provides the city of Bessemer in the past has been the use of their voting machines and the employees that they have that operate those voting machines. Now, the city does obtain the voters list from the Board of Registrars, and we will continue to do that. Now, the question of whether we can use Jefferson County's voting machines will be a question of whether they offer those services. And Ms. Taylor probably can speak to that better than I can now. I haven't talked to them recently, but there was word that they were not going to be available for municipal elections in the future. That's what I'd heard. But Ms. Taylor, do you have any further knowledge on that?
Yes, I spoke with Keith Harris. He's the chief of elections at Jefferson County Election Services. He has informed me that he will be able to accommodate us in 2022.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so he's now getting up the quote for what it's gonna cost us for the voting machines. I have not gotten all of that information yet. So as soon as we get that information, I will give it to the mayor.
So, so there is also, just so you'll know, there is a schedule of timelines for a municipal election. The municipal election will be the fourth Tuesday in August of 22. And there's a timeline that Ms. Taylor and I will be developing and going by, that certain things have to be done by a certain time schedule. And we've both done several of these, so we'll make sure that you guys are informed of the timelines and what you have to do by a certain date.
Okay, as far as in informing us with the timeline, I mean, that still, I guess, really doesn't cover my concern. My concern with this timeline, because this is the same timeline that you have to adhere to with any given said election. Is that not correct?
Yes.
Okay, well, with this timeline, my concern is that our first option be that we go to Jefferson County to administer our municipal elections. In the event that Jefferson County is not available, then we'll come back before the council to determine as to where we would go from that point forward. But like I said, putting it in writing that Jefferson County is our first alternative. So what measures do we need to take to ensure that?
I mean, they have been in the past. So and as Ms. Taylor said, that they have recently told her they would be available and they're developing a quote for us. So
okay, my question,
Ms. Taylor's on top of it.
What measures do we need to take to have this in writing here in the city of Bessemer, that our first alternative, our first option would be that we would go to the county for them to oversee our municipal elections in the event of there's a conflict of scheduling, conflict of of any sort, that then we'll move on to a different entity that's after coming back before the council. So I mean, what do we need to do to, I guess, do we need to get a resolution together? I mean, what do we need to do in order, as far as ensuring that these are the measures that we take for municipal elections here in the city of
Well, I think Ms. Taylor said she's obtaining a quote from them right now. So as soon as she obtains a quote, we can bring back to the council a resolution to contract with Jefferson County, and that will resolve that issue.
Okay, I guess let me go back a step further. We're not just talking about the election in 2020. We're talking about, as far as in all elections here in the city of Bessemer. So I mean, we're not going to just specifically bind this conversation or this discussion to the election of 2020. I'm saying from henceforth. So what do we need to do to ensure that?
I don't know. I'll be happy to look at it. And we've always used Jefferson County when we could. So if you want a binding resolution on the city to do that, we'll look and see if that's part of that can be done.
Yes, sir. I mean, if you will, I would greatly appreciate it. And I will make note to kind of, I guess, put this on the next planning session for you to bring back more information. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Item number 14, please.
Item 14 is street light ordinance.
Councilor Crusoe, was that you?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you again. Write this down. Attorney Payton. Okay, given that we have several complaints throughout the city of Bessemer about certain areas being dark and dangerous, somewhat a haven to a lot of the crime that's taking place in the city of Bessemer and drug activity. Not only I in District 7, I'm sure several other councilors can attest to this situation, whereby the bump in the road that we're encountering when we make a request for certain lights to be put up in our district, we're being told that due to the city's ordinance that we have in place, that street lights have to be a certain distance from another street light before we go forth as far as in deciding or placing street lights in these dark areas to light them up. With the ordinance, the distance that we have in place, I would like for us to revisit that distance. I mean, we're currently, what is it? I think we're 300 feet right now.
That budget point gonna work out for you.
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct, Madam President. It's 300 feet.
Dealing with when you do invoice 1, invoice 2, it's got to be able to. So I'm tricking the formula. So
Could you mute your mic?
Yeah, because
Mr. Ward.
Okay.
Mr. Ward,
Who is
you're
that?
on.
Wait a minute, who is
Mr. Ward,
that?
you're live.
Mr. Ward. Mr. Ward, were you intending to speak to us? I think he was talking, but he wasn't speaking to us.
It's okay. My concern, or what I'm asking that we do, is revisit this ordinance to reduce the distance, so we can help put more lights in throughout the city. To help, combat some of the crime, and also to light up the city. I mean, it looks kind of gory throughout the city, with not only the lights, with overgrown trees, over some of the streets. So again, if we can revisit the distance, so we can work on installing more lighting throughout the city of Bessemer. That's what I asked of the council. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, may I?
Yes, sir.
Are you speaking about closer than 300 feet? Because if you do that, council, you'll have them on every pole. But and I think if memory serves me correct, the 300 feet, it skips a pole, and I think that if anything, if you do it every pole, that's gonna be quite a bit.
Yeah.
But and I guess we can sit down and talk about it, but I think it's every other pole, and sometimes it's not even a pole that exists within that 300 feet. So you may have to go a little further than 300 feet, and that's common not just in Bessemer, but in adjacent cities as well. So, but we can look at it though.
Yes, it's not so much as every pole that we're looking for, but we need to agree upon a distance that will kind of help light up some of these dark communities that right now serve as a haven for criminal activity.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Crusoe, we'll get together and we'll look at that street ordinance. I did look at it the other day. That's why I could tell you it was 300 feet. Maybe I thought about, I was looking in Lipscomb, and they were changing the lights to LED lights, which really lit up that back highway there. I think that's Avenue K. When they put those LED lights in, that really lit up that highway. But we can sit down and talk about whatever's good for the city of Bessemer. Item number 15, please.
I'm sorry, wildlife ordinance.
I think that was placed on by Councilor Collier.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. In one of my areas, in the old Smith Islands area, we have been getting calls from citizens that had been experiencing encounters with coyotes and foxes. I don't know if any other council members have been experiencing the same thing with all the new buildings going up in the city and all the different great things going on. I would just like the council to get together and see can we come up with the same thing that we did with the other wildlife we had. I think it was a raccoon situation at one time to see can we, render some help to the citizens, not only in my district, but in other districts also.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am, Councilor Alexander.
I'm like Council Collier. I'm not dealing with a lot of coyotes or foxes because we don't have anything new going up in District 2 or new bills or anything. But we do have a lot of homeowners and business owners with chicken and cows and hens and things, goats that come outside of their fence. So yes, I would love to look into something like that.
As we will do for the lighting, we'll do the same for the wildlife ordinance. We'll sit down and we'll discuss because I think
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Not to interrupt. I think last time last time we hired a contractor to come in. That's what I was speaking to. And I think what Councilwoman Alexander was speaking to, it's something similar, but she's saying, the ordinance that we have for the wildlife, we need to look back at it. So I don't want to, mix both of them up. So I'm looking for the same thing that we had in, like a contractor that was a catcher who came in and, caught those animals, because we don't have the personnel at the city to do so. They only deal with just, pretty much dogs and cats.
Councilor Carter, you were the only councilor that benefited from that service. I do remember the service you're speaking about because the young lady at 2417 had her dog tied up in the backyard, and it's adjacent to low-income housing there, and a coyote attacked her dog. So I do remember what you're speaking of. We'll pull that contract, Councilor Collier, and we'll sit down and look at that contract because I've never seen it. We'll sit down and we'll look at that contract, Councilor Collier. If that's okay with you?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Attorney Payton. Now we're getting ready to go into council meeting, and hopefully it won't be very long. Councilor Attorney Payton, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do we have to come out of planning and go into council?
Correct. Yes, ma'am. Do that and roll call all over again.
Okay, I thought so. Councilors, I need a motion to adjourn. And we'll take up the district comments, discussion on District 1 through 7 in council meeting.
Move to adjourn the planning session.
Second.
And properly moved and second that we'll adjourn from planning session going on over into a council meeting for August the 17th, 2021. Ms. Taylor.
Yes, ma'am. Councilor Alexander.
Aye.
Councilor Collier.
Aye.
Councilor Crusoe.
Aye.
Councilor Marshall.
Aye.
Councilor Thigpen.
Aye.
Councilor Matthews.
Aye.
Councilor Donald.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, the motion carries.
Thank you. See you on the other side.